Hey everyone, so a lot of you ask me a lot of the time in the comments or on Twitter or wherever what kind of games I play, what my favorite games are, and what I do outside of Bloxburg. So I thought it'd be a good idea to make a top 5 of my favorite games, and I don't know, something in me really wants to do that and just like brag about my favorite games, I guess. So let's start with number 5, and on number 5 I'm going to have to put Bloxburg. So you might have thought that this would have been my number 1, and it used to be, but I kind of got burnt out of it, and I don't really play it as much anymore for fun. However, I do still play it for videos, and I like making videos on it. But just for fun, I'm kind of burnt out of it at the moment, so it's my number 5. So in Bloxburg, of course, you build houses, you work, you grind, and then you can just like create your own plot and create your own dream house, and there's a lot that you can do in the game. And I do think that it is still the best game on Roblox, or at least the best optimized game on Roblox, and I think it's the game I spent most of my time on, so that's a good thing as well, because it's literally my job, so I better. But yeah, I just kind of like the game. I don't really like working sometimes because I feel like sometimes it takes too long for what I want to do, but other than that, I really love the aspect of it, and I always wanted a game that was like The Sims but online, and that's kind of how I found Bloxburg at first. Because I was looking for a Sims online where I could show off my houses to other people and play in other people's houses, and that's the first thing I found, so I was quite happy stumbling across that one. Then my number 4 is a Planet Zoo, and in Planet Zoo you basically build a zoo and you have to make sure that the animals have a big enough enclosure and that the people are happy, and if your animals are not doing too well, protesters will come to your park. So that's fun to see as well. Well, it's not as fun because you're abusing your animals, but it's a fun aspect to the game, and it's definitely like a really good game if you used to play Zoo Tycoon 2 or something like that, and just it's fun to have different animals. Also, all of the animals that they added into the game, they have studied, and they have studied their movement and stuff like that, so it's based on real life, and there's just a lot to the game that you can do. There's a lot of detail, and sometimes I get overwhelmed with the amount of freedom that you have, especially when it comes to buildings. I usually just take buildings from the Steam Workshop and use them in my park, because making a tiny building sometimes takes up to 3 hours and I can't be bothered to do that. Just want to have nice animal pens and stuff like that. And my one dislike about Planet Zoo is that they work with expansion packs or DLCs. And in their DLCs, they ask $10 for it. I feel like they are too limited. So they added, for example, an Arctic pack, and it didn't even include penguins, and for me that was a big letdown, and the game on its own is already like $50 or something like that, and to add small DLC packs for $10 that don't even offer like 10 animals is quite expensive for me. So that's one downside of Planet Zoo, but other than that, it's really detailed, the graphics are amazing, and you can do everything you want basically. And also a big plus is the Zoopedia, where you can learn more about the animals. It's based on real life facts and how endangered the animals are and stuff like that, and breeding. The babies are so cute and cheat codes are funny. So definitely a really good game that I like to play from time to time, but it's one of those games that I have to be really in the mood for to play it, and then I play it for days on end, and then I don't touch it for months. So yeah, it's one of those games. Then my number 3 is from the same creators, and that is Planet Coaster. And in Planet Coaster, instead of building a zoo, you build a theme park, and the rides are amazing, super smooth game as well. You can do basically whatever you want in the game. I used to play Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 when I was a little child. Oh my god, that was so long ago. Yeah, I just really love the aesthetic of the game. However, what is lacking for me in Planet Coaster is also the fact that they use DLCs, same as in Planet Zoo, and they're way too expensive for what they offer in my opinion. But other than that, what I do miss are flat rides, so basically attractions that just stand there. They have a lot of roller coasters, so that's something I'm really happy about, but I do miss the flat ride aspect. Also in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 you had custom flat rides, and that's where you could download attractions people made and add them to your park, and they don't really have that in Planet Zoo, and that's something I really miss. But again, other than that, you are free to do anything you want, sometimes too free, and it's a bit overwhelming, but definitely worth getting if you are into parks and roller coasters like me. And then my number 2 is something that used to be my number 1 actually, and I was so addicted to it, I played it for hours on end, is City Skylines. And in City Skylines yes, you build your own city, you have to make sure your population is happy, you have to count in with the roads so that your roads don't get blocked, which I have a lot. I'm not really too good at road management, but it's a really fun and realistic game, and you just build your own city from scratch. It's sometimes hard to start, but once you start, you can play it for days, even weeks on end without getting bored of it. There's always something new, something to do. There's natural disasters if you want that. So if you want to ruin your city, you can do that as well. And there's also a page with mods for the game and downloads, and there's so much good stuff in there, like apartment buildings and special roads and roundabouts and maps that you can download. And when I go into the mod page of that game, I just spent hours and hours looking at stuff. I think I have like 300, 400 mods for that game, or plugins, whatever you want to call them, from the workshop, because all of that stuff is just so nice, and it's just amazing to add that to your city. And I just can be so satisfied to just go around my own city, see where I would live, and like enjoy the places, create districts and stuff like that, count the population, well, not count the population, oh my god, imagine counting them one by one, but like see the population grow of your city. And then it sounds kind of boring, but also the fact that like people are getting sick and you need to get rid of like a poisoned water system or something like that. And if you want to be the most terrible city owner in the world, you can do that by just creating disasters and making your people sick, having industries right next to your towns and stuff like that. And it's just fun to see how cities are created, and sometimes you make the ugliest city, and then sometimes you have a city where you're like, okay, I'm super proud of this one. But definitely use mods in that one because they are so worth it, and they are free. And the game also has a lot of DLCs, but I feel like they are a little more worth it, but that's probably because I played the game a little bit more than Planet Zoo and Planet Coaster, so we have to keep that in mind as well. And before we move on to number 1, I would like to have an honorable mention, and that is The Sims 4. Now, The Sims 4 didn't make my list because I'm still a bit sassy about it. I feel like The Sims 3 and The Sims 2 were so much better, especially when it came to expansion packs and DLCs. Like, the stuff we get now, $40 for a game pack that barely has anything. And you can so clearly see that it's a money grab at this point. And then the Star Wars pack, I'm not really a fan of that. And they add so many packs, like, if you add all of them together, I think you come to about $800 now, and that is just not worth it for The Sims. However, I still like to play The Sims from time to time. I still have a lot of the DLCs. The only one I don't have is like the most recent one. I think I got all the way up to snow, what was it, the snow pack, where you could go and ski, or make your sim ski at least. And I also like to download a lot of stuff like hairs and clothes and furniture and like floor types and stuff like that. I can spend hours looking for extra stuff to add to my game, because I do feel like the game is lacking in a lot of points, and that is why it did not make my list, because the previous versions were a lot better in my opinion. But I still like to play The Sims from time to time, so that's good. And I'm hoping that The Sims 5 or Paralives is even better. And then we go on to number 1, and I never thought that would be my favorite game at one point in time, but it currently is. My favorite game at the moment is Minecraft. Now, Minecraft, I used to look at it like I look at Fortnite. I hated the game, there was nothing you could do, never played it, never tried it, but I had a judgment about it, and I thought that was just like the most boring game. It looked bad, and I felt like it was one of the most simplest survival games that you could come across. And then I actually started playing it, and now I have a realm and I have friends that I play with, and there's just so much more that you can do. I love doing stuff with redstone, making automatic farms and stuff like that. If you saw, but probably no one saw that, if you saw the video where I showed you my Minecraft house, then you would have seen that I'm basically playing Minecraft non-stop now. So yeah, it's my number 1 now. I used to hate it, used to have a judgment about it, and now I can't stop playing it. So it's really an addicting game, and one of the best survivals I played actually, which I never thought I would say. I used to play Ark Survival Evolved as well, but the game is 250 gigabytes, so I moved to Minecraft, and I'm actually very happy that I did. So that is my number 1 at the moment, but it really fluctuates on how I feel. I'm really into Minecraft lately, and I have been playing non-stop, so yeah, it's my number 1 right now, and yeah, just a little bit addicted maybe. Now anyways, let me know what your top favorite games are at the moment. It doesn't have to be Roblox. Mine aren't all Roblox either. In fact, I only have one Roblox game in there. So that was it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, and please subscribe.